Alright, let's talk Round the Twist, the show that traumatized, delighted and plain confused at least 2 generations of Australian kids, and somehow through all that became a global cult classic. Now I've got 15 facts that'll make you go, wait, what? So let's dive into it. Round the Twist follows the Twist family, widowed dad Tony and his kids Pete, Linda and Bronson, after they move into a creepy old lighthouse in the coastal town of Port Naranda. Strange supernatural events happen constantly. Ghosts, magic objects, bizarre creatures and surreal problems that only the Twist kids can solve. Each episode is a standalone weird adventure with a surprise twist at the end, all wrapped up in comedy and a bit of gross out humour. Fact 1. Round the Twist was almost cancelled before it even started, because networks thought it was too rude, too disgusting, and way too weird for children. And honestly, fair. Season 1 had peeing contests, exploding yuckles, and a green baby. Executives were horrified. The producers basically said, cool, let's make it even stranger. And that's how the show's identity was born. Fact 2. Updated actor list. The cast didn't just change, they changed 3 separate times. Long gaps between the seasons meant that the kids aged out, so Pete, Linda and Bronson were recast every season. Watching the show in order feels like you're switching dimensions every time the opening theme starts. Season 1, which was in 1989, had Sam Vandenberg, Tamsin West and Rodney McLennan playing the roles of Pete, Linda and Bronson Twist. Season 2, which was in 1992, had Ben Thomas, Jolene Snogratz, Jeffrey Walker playing the roles. And Season 3 and 4, which was between 2000 and 2001, had Ryan McLean, Ebony Messini and Matthew Waters playing the roles. At this point, Richard Marr, who played Tony Twist the father, left the show due to Parkinson's disease. He was replaced by Andrew S. Gilbert. So depending on which season you watched as a kid, you probably have a completely different set of Twist siblings burned into your memory. It's basically the Doctor Who of Australian children's television, but with more burping, ghosts and cursed spaghetti. Fact 3. Most episodes were based directly on Paul Jennings' short stories, especially from Unbelievable, Uncanny and Quirky Tales, Unbearable, Unmentionable and Uncooked. But here's the problem. Jennings' stories are short, punchy and end abruptly. They're not built for TV, so the writers had to mash 2 completely unrelated stories together just to fill an episode. Fact 4. Pete Twist wasn't based on Jennings' kids, he was based on Jennings himself. Pete is literally Paul Jennings as a teenager. Linda and Bronson, those were inspired by his actual children, so technically the Twist family is half autobiography, half chaos. Fact 5. The lighthouse wasn't chosen because it looked cool, it was chosen to make the show feel uniquely Australian. Producer Patricia Edgar wanted something that didn't look like American or British kids TV. All exterior lighthouse shots were filmed at Split Point Lighthouse in Aireys Inlet on the Great Ocean Road. Every interior lighthouse scene was filmed at Melbourne Studios, not inside the actual lighthouse. But here's the kicker, the school scenes were filmed an hour away in Williamstown. Fans who visited both locations realised the show's geography makes absolutely no sense. The school scenes were filmed at Williamstown Primary School. Queenscliff and Point Lonsdale were used for town scenes. The casting notes also state that one episode of the show took 600 crew members and the amount of time it would take to watch 2,554 episodes, though this is obviously a joke. Fact number 6. Despite being considered too rude early on, Round the Twist went on to win 16 international awards, including the prestigious Prix Jeunesse. Je ne parle français. It's one of Australia's most decorated children's TV shows ever. Not bad for a season that started out with exploding yuckles. Fact 7. Rick Mayall, yes Rick Mayall from The Young Ones and Drop Dead Fred, wanted to guest star. He was meant to play the punk ghost in Quivering Heap. The role was written specifically for him, but immigration rules blocked him from working in Australia, so the producers had to rewrite the episode. Fact 8. Esben Storm wasn't just the director, he was the show's creative engine. He mentored Jennings in screenwriting, rewrote scripts that weren't working, shaped the tone of the show, and even acted as Mr. Snapper. There were days where he literally directed scenes he was performing in. The man was holding the show together with sheer force of will. Fact 9. The twist endings weren't a gimmick, they came straight from Jennings' short story structure. Every episode had to end with a surprise. Writers were required to engineer a final twist no matter how chaotic the episode already was. Fact 10. Season 3 introduced the magical Viking Book of Love, and it wasn't just a one-off prop, it quietly shaped multiple episodes. In the Viking Book of Love, it causes romantic chaos. In Little Black Balls, it influences Pete's decisions. In The Big Burp, its mythology ties into the supernatural pregnancy storyline. It was basically the season's hidden lore. Fact 11. Season 4 went even harder with mythology, introducing Ariel, a child from Atlantis. The show built a surprising deep fantasy arc across episodes, something almost no kids' TV show was doing at the time. Fact 12. Reruns saved the show. Poor scheduling nearly killed it, but ABC repeats, school screenings, and latest streaming resurrected it. That's why Around the Twist is iconic for two generations, the original 90s kids and the 2000s kids who discovered it through reruns. Yeah, and I'm one of the original 90s kids that discovered Round the Twist at school when the teachers would wheel in that big TV and just put it on during class, and I thought it was the best time of my life. Fact 13. The special effects were done on a shoestring budget. Ghosts, transformations, monsters all achieved with puppetry, forced perspective, hand-built props, and old-school tricks. The low budget actually made the show's surreal tones stronger. Fact 14. The theme song became a cult hit, but the singer was never credited. Tamsin West, the original Linda, performed Have You Ever Felt Like This? But her name never appeared on screen. Fans spent decades trying to figure out who sang it. Fact 15. Now this ties together with an earlier fact about two stories being stitched together for an episode. A perfect example is Without My Pants, which combines Without My Pants, the rhyming poem, the copy, duplicating camera, two stories with zero connection, stitched together like Frankenstein's monster. This chaotic mashup style became the show's trademark. You never knew what the second half of the episode was going to turn into. So, that was Round the Twist, a show held together by weirdness, creativity, and pure Australian chaos. If you grew up with it, drop your favourite episode in the comments. Now, if you'd like me to keep going with these deep dives, let me know. Please subscribe, like, and share this video. I'll see you in the next one.